Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Hand of the King, one of the most important positions in all of Westeros. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones, you know that the Hand is the King's most trusted advisor and second-in-command. They're responsible for running the kingdom and helping the King make decisions. The Hand of the King has been a part of Westerosi politics for centuries. The first Hand was Jon Arryn, who served King Robert Baratheon. After Arryn's death, Eddard Stark was appointed Hand. And since then, there have been many other hands, each with their own unique story. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the Hand of the King. I'll discuss the history of the position, the qualifications for becoming Hand, and the duties of the Hand. I'll also talk about some of the most famous hands in Westerosi history. So if you're ready to learn more about the Hand of the King, then keep watching. History of the Hand of the King. The Hand of the King is a position that dates back to the days of Aegon the Conqueror. When Aegon conquered Westeros, he created the position of Hand to help him rule the kingdom. The Hand was responsible for advising the king, running the government, and leading the army. The first Hand of the King was Jon Arryn, a wise and experienced lord from the Vale. Arryn served King Robert Baratheon faithfully for many years. After Arryn's death, Eddard Stark was appointed Hand. Stark was a loyal and honorable man, but he was also a bit naive. He soon found himself in over his head, and he was eventually executed by the Lannisters. Since then, there have been many other Hands of the King. Some of them have been great leaders, while others have been corrupt and incompetent. But no matter who they are, the Hand of the King is always a powerful figure in Westerosi politics. Qualifications for becoming Hand. There are no strict qualifications for becoming Hand of the King. The King can appoint anyone he wants to the position, regardless of their age, gender, or social status. However, there are some qualities that are typically associated with good hands. A good hand is usually a wise and experienced leader. They should be able to advise the king on complex matters of policy and strategy. They should also be able to manage the government effectively and lead the army in battle. In addition to their skills and experience, a good hand should also be loyal and trustworthy. The king needs to be able to rely on his hand to give him honest advice and to carry out his orders faithfully. Duties of the Hand of the King. The Hand of the King has a wide range of duties. They are responsible for advising the king on all matters of state, including policy, strategy, and war. They also manage the government, oversee the bureaucracy, and lead the army. In addition to their formal duties, the Hand is also responsible for representing the king at court and in public. They are often the king's voice in negotiations with foreign rulers and in dealing with domestic crises. The Hand of the King is a demanding position. It requires a great deal of skill, experience, and loyalty. But it is also a very rewarding position. The Hand has the opportunity to shape the course of history and to make a real difference in the world. Famous Hands of the King. There have been many famous Hands of the King throughout Westerosi history. Some of the most notable include Jon Arryn. The first Hand of the King, Jon Arryn, was a wise and experienced lord who served King Robert Baratheon faithfully for many years. He was known for his kindness and compassion, and he was a trusted advisor to the king. However, Arryn's time as Hand came to an end when he was mysteriously poisoned. His death plunged the Seven Kingdoms into chaos, and it set in motion the events that would lead to the War of the Five Kings. Eddard Stark. A loyal and honorable man, Eddard Stark was appointed Hand by King Robert Baratheon. However, he was soon executed by the Lannisters. Stark was a skilled swordsman and a brilliant strategist. He was also a just and fair ruler, and he was loved by his people. His death was a major blow to the realm, and it helped to spark the War of the Five Kings. Tywin Lannister. A ruthless and cunning man, Tywin Lannister was appointed Hand by King Joffrey Baratheon. He was a skilled politician and administrator, but he was also ruthless and ambitious. Tywin was responsible for many of the worst atrocities in Westerosi history, including the Red Wedding and the sack of King's Landing. However, he was also a capable ruler, and he helped to bring peace to the realm after the War of the Five Kings. Tyrion Lannister. A brilliant and witty dwarf, Tyrion Lannister was appointed Hand by his father, Tywin Lannister. He was a skilled negotiator and strategist, but he was also impulsive and reckless. Tyrion was responsible for some of the most important victories in the War of the Five Kings, including the Battle of Blackwater and the Siege of Meereen. He was also instrumental in helping Daenerys Targaryen to become the Queen of Westeros. These are just a few of the many famous Hands of the King. They were all powerful figures who played a major role in the history of Westeros. So, if you ever find yourself in Westeros and you're looking for a job, remember, you could always be Hand of the King. Conclusion. Sure, here is a more humorous conclusion to the video, written for an audience between 16 and 24 years old. So, there you have it. That's everything you need to know about the Hand of the King. If you're still interested in becoming Hand of the King, then I wish you luck. But be warned, it's a dangerous job. You'll have to deal with scheming lords, bloodthirsty dragons, and even the occasional zombie apocalypse. But if you're up for the challenge, then being Hand of the King could be the most rewarding experience of your life. You'll get to live in the Red Keep, wear fancy clothes, and eat the best food in Westeros. And who knows, you might even get to marry a beautiful princess. So what are you waiting for? Go forth and rule.
Se você gostou do conteúdo, não se esqueça de dar like e se inscrever no canal. Eu fico aqui, até a próxima!